वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So we were looking at the gist of Puranas and we were on the Linga Purana. So last time, if you remember, we were looking at how now Linga Purana, as the name itself suggests, talks about worship of Lord Shiva in the form of Shivalinga. So it has become a very, you can say, a popular way of worship. Now, whenever we see Shiva, you go to any Shiva temple, Shiva is worshipped in the form of a linga also. Now, we have already seen the concept of Shivalinga in one of our previous sessions in details. Those who have missed that, you can just go through the audios. So what exactly is the concept of a lingam and so on, and how there are, you can say, so many controversies around it, how people take the meaning in different ways also. But as per our scriptures, whatever is mentioned about Shivalinga, that we have seen in detail, and mainly Linga Puranam highlights about the geography of our country Bharata Desha, and also about Jambu Dweepa. Then Sangeeta Shastra mainly is propounded in Linga Puranam, we had seen, and a lot of dana dharmams that is being told. So if you remember, we had discussed last time with all the different rituals and festivals that we celebrate, be it a shraddha karma or be it a wedding or anything auspicious, whatever we do, some kind of danam is always associated. So you do a shraddha karma, you have to give something in danam. If you do a wedding also, you give something either to the priest or in general to the guests who come, or maybe any festival that we celebrate, Navaratri festival or something, some kind of dana dharmam we do, you give something to small girls, ladies and so on. So like this, with every occasion that is there, some kind of dana and dharma is always associated. So the main concept of dana dharma, or why we consider even danam as an important aspect of our culture, or why do we do it in Bharata Desha, if you see, generally why is this concept of danam associated is, apart from the religious meaning also, a very deep thought is the science of being a sense of being grateful, that is it, that the Lord has blessed us with something we are capable of doing, so why not give back? So we have something called giving back, right? Even in corporates also, if we work, we have this what do you call that? Mm, not able to get the name, what it is. uh, the point is, usually they have some monthly or yearly activities, usually wherein you have a certain organization which comes in and some kind of donation, this and that we do. There's a particular name for that, I'm not able to recollect it. So like that, why we do that, even in corporates or even in schools also, if you see, especially for kids, like during the festival of Diwali also, they'll say don't burst crackers, instead give that to maybe orphan kids or something like that. Why such things are done is to encourage a sense of being, encourage this gratitude or being thankful that the Lord has blessed us with something which maybe my fellow human beings are not that blessed. That's the reason we go on the road also. Now, every minute, if you see, in general, human beings are complaining, right? I don't have this, I don't have that. He has a bigger house, I have a smaller house. Like this, for everything, we keep complaining. But the minute we see someone maybe sitting on the road, he doesn't have a roof over his head, he doesn't have food on his plate, at that time, we realize how blessed we are, right? You see kids on the road walking without shoes or so, or they just move about here and there. At that time, we feel blessed. At least the Lord has not blessed us with such a way of life. So, like this, why do we do? Why I'm telling you all this is the concept of dana dharma has originated from here. In those times, why used to kings give a lot in donation or so? Because kings in those times were quite rich. They had a lot of amenities, and subjects in general didn't have much. So the kings were encouraged to give something in danam so that the society can benefit from that. So mainly the concept of Dhanam. Why Dhanam is very important. You do something auspicious, there's a good festival, a good celebration, or even a Shraddha Karma that is done. Dhanam is a part of it. That is a sense of being grateful and thankful to the Lord that today you have blessed me with this capacity, I should definitely give back. So that is a concept of Dana Dharma. This is a philosophical aspect. So why I told you this is, some people argue why we have to give something in Dhanam. I have something, let me keep it to myself. That is one thing. But why we have to give in Dhanam is, you are blessed with something more by the Lord Himself. It takes a minute for the Lord to take away things from you. If you have been blessed, why not give that to the society? So Linga Puranam little talks about that. Now, with regards to different rituals and as per the occasion, we give something in dana, right? So usually wealth also in the form of money, some people give, but as per occasions, like for example, the Navratri festival, you for ladies also certain like tambulam etc. is given. For a Shraddha Karma, you have certain dharmas that are to be given to the priest. So, depending on the occasion, Dana Dharma is done. Nowadays, people, all this is described in detail. For what occasion, what kind of dhanam should be given, that is described in detail in the Linga Puranam. Some of us today, we feel that just giving something in money or so, you tell the priest, okay, you do this, I'm giving you money. It doesn't happen that. Some people go to this extent, even doing the Shraddha Karma or one's own, any small festival that we do, or some people say, no, I've given in a temple also. Temple, the priest will do, you give them money, they will do it. But what is the use? If you cannot chant the name of your own ancestors, your own pitrus, and so on, there is no use of doing the Shraddha Karma, right? I have given food in an orphanage also. You do that, definitely you must do it. But that is not, you can say, we cannot what do you call, you cannot skip the karma that is there and then do something. You do both, it is okay, but they cannot, it cannot be exchanged. Right now, instead of this, I'll do that. We cannot change rituals or so as per we want. So this is something which is very very wrong. I'm just giving an example of Shraddha Karma that is there. Shraddha Karma, why we do, or why it should be done in one's own house, why not somewhere else, or you just tell the priest, I'll give you money, also you do that. Shraddha Karma is for our own ancestors. If you cannot, you don't call your priest, you don't tell the names of your ancestors, it's of no use. Rather, some priest is coming and eating, no doubt. In the temple, they will offer food to the needy ones or a priest also, that is there. But you have not done the karma at all, right? You have not even invoked your ancestors. So then it becomes useless. So this dhanam that is there, wealth is one thing, but wealth or money is not only one part of dhanam that is there. There are many other aspects also. So some of us, we feel dhanam means just giving out and throwing away money also. It's not at all so. Uh, the karma that is there, that should also definitely be done. That's the reason why dhanam differs from occasion to occasion, depending on what is the occasion, festival, and so on. So this was all about Linga Puranam. Next, we look at Varaha Puranam. My God. Now, Varaha Puranam has its base in, you can say, geography, because Varaha was the one to have rescued Mother Earth. And here you also have the stories of Goddess Durga and Lord Dharma, Dharma Deva, that is Yama. Yama is another name is Dharma Deva. And you have different dweepas also. Like Jambu Dweepam is our dweepa. Now in those times, if you see, it is was said that around Bharat Desha there were many Jambu Vrikshas, Jambu trees. That's the reason why the name came to be Jambu Dweepam. Of course, there are many stories and interpretations regarding this, but this is generally what is told. And Meru is said to be the center of earth and so on. But as such, if you see, it is believed that Meru Parvatam is in today's Himalayas. That is what is the belief. So, like this, there are different dweepas. Dweepas are nothing but today's continents that we have. 7 continents which we have: Asia, America, and so on, Europe. So that is, these dweepas are nothing but islands, or you can say dweepam is as such an island. But the different dweepas, Rambu Dweepam and so on, different dweepas, somewhat again the number is close to 7. Now, if you interpret this and said, okay, these dweepas are somewhat today's modern continents, which we say in modern geography today, yes, they are. But, and even their geography also is mentioned in detail in the Varaha Puranam, also few other Puranas. But if you see, we must not complain saying that, oh, today whatever countries or states are there in the state of Asia, that is not there in Jambu Dweepam, or whatever is mentioned in America also, like which Dweepam is what, that is also covered to some extent. But the names, for that we have to do deep research, deep study. Today what names are there, that might not be there 50 years back, maybe the names might differ, right? Now you see this changing of names in our own country. If you see, number of states, number of union territories, names keep changing almost in a year, right? Many times people don't even know that the name has changed. All over the country, I'm saying a particular city's name is changed, a road's name is changed, state is changed, this and that. In fact, our country's name is also about to change, though it's not officially changed, right? And many people have started addressing India as Bharata also. So like this, there are different concepts that are there. So we cannot simply, again, this is I'm highlighting is, there will be fools who say, no, what is there in the scriptures? How can you compare it with the continents also? You can compare it. The base of geography remains the same, but we cannot argue saying that today whatever countries I know same is not there in Jammu Dweepam. It might be there with another name, right? Or maybe the division is not like that. Very, I don't know if I've given you this example earlier. Today's geographical India and before partition, before independence, India was different, right? So then we cannot say today just because Pakistan or Afghanistan, countries like that are not a part of the Indian subcontinent, we cannot say that countries like these did not exist. They have just become separate countries. They were a part of Bharat Desha then, now they are no more. That's the only reason. We cannot say that these countries do not exist just because they are not there today. So the same concept is here also. So in detail, geography is mentioned about these dweepas and also the oceans surrounding around these dweepas. Just as we have in Jammu Dweepam, if you see Bharata Desha, if you see, you have the Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, and so on. So usually salty ocean. This is what is known. But around these dweepas, it is believed that there was an ocean of, you can say, sugarcane. There was an ocean of milk, and so on. All this is mentioned. Of course, in today's times, we have to delve very deep to find out if such an ocean generally ever existed. But this is a lot of ancient history that is there. Ancient, let's not even call it history. Ancient knowledge that is there in the scriptures. Next is in the Varaha Puranam, you have the story of Matsyavataram that is there. Matsyavataram story is also told in major Puranas. Varaha Puranam, if you see, has got lot of Mahatmyam also. Like in fact, the Gita Mahatmyam that is there, general one Gita Mahatmyam, Gita, which we chant towards the end, Gita Dhyayana Shilasya and so on. That is a general one which is not a part of Varaha Purana, but there is another Gita Mahatmya which is not that well known. So after chanting all the 18 chapters of the Gita, we have this Gita Mahatmya from the Varaha Purana which is chanted. So Varaha Puranam also is the home to many Mahatmyas as such. Also Agastya Gita which is there, Rudra Gita. Rudra Gita is also a part of in Srimad Bhagavatam also it comes here also. So Agastya Gita, Rudra Gita. Just as when we say Gita, it is only Bhagavad Gita that comes to our mind. But there are many, many, many Gitas. Devi Gita, Ayyappa Gita, Agastya Gita, Rudra Gita, and so on. Now, to some extent, a very important thing is with regards to Rudra Gita and Bhagavad Gita, which we study today, it is said that the philosophy remains the same. Only Lord Rudra talks about this. So that is the difference which is usually seen. Otherwise, to some extent, it is the same. Or even in the what do you say? In the Srimad Bhagavatam also we have a lot of Gitas, or in the Mahabharatam also we have different Sahasranamas, Shiva Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama, and so on. So the concept to some extent remains the same, but the subject matter little differs. But when we say Gita, the most common Gita is Bhagavad Gita, just as uh, Shankaracharya also highlights Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Deyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Sahasram, it has to be Vishnu Sahasranama. Gita, it has to be Bhagavad Gita. So without even adding the prefix Vishnu Sahasranama or Bhagavad Gita, by default we assume it is Bhagavad Gita, and when we say Sahasranama, it is Vishnu Sahasranama. This is because of the popularity that is there, but it doesn't mean there are no other Gitas also. Varaha Puranam also mentions about different Tirtha Kshetrams, majorly the places like Pushkar also. Pushkar in today's Rajasthan, Pushkar Tirtham. Just as we take a bath in the Ganga, Yamuna also, it's considered very auspicious. Similarly, Pushkar Snanam is very, very auspicious. The only one temple to Brahma, which is in today's Rajasthan. There people visit and also take a bath in the in the Pushkar Tirtham. Also, you have highlights of places like Kashi, Varanasi, and also Naimisharanyam. Naimisharanyam, it is in today's central Bharata, a place where Romaharshana, the sage Romaharshana, has told all the 18 Puranas to the sages who are present there. So Naimisharanyam is a forest, I think somewhat quite near Ayodhya. So you go on a pilgrimage, if you go to Ayodhya, you can visit Naimisharanyam, Kashi, and so on together. So these Tirtha Kshetras are mentioned, and of course, Kashi, Kanchipuram, Avantika, Prayag Kshetra, and so on. So these Haridwar, older names Maya, Mayaputam, today's name is Haridwar. So these are all Mokshapuris that are there. The Mokshapuri Stotram, anyone knows that shloka? Sapta Mokshapuri? No? Anyone knows the shloka? Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva, Saptete, Mokshadayika. No? Okay. So basically, this shloka it comes in various Puranas. I think majorly it is popular in the Garuda Puranam also. And if I'm not wrong, it should come in the Varaha Puranam. So basically, Ayodhya, birthplace of Rama, Mathura, birthplace of Krishna, Haridwar or Maya, Maya, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya. Maya, it is said to be a place wherein it is now if you see Haridwar is the first place, or Haridwar, Rishikesh, when you go there, the first footsteps or foothills of the Himalayas. Haridwar is said to be, in fact, in the Shastras also, it is said to be Ganga Dwara. Ganga Dwara, the place where Ganga actually opens her doors also, and from there you have Kedarnath with the yatra that usually goes. Then you also have it is also called the Kapila Sthanam. Kapila Sthanam, it is believed that Kapila Muni, a form, an avatar of Lord Vishnu, is said to have lived in this place. Swargadwaram, gateway to heaven, and Mayapuri. Mayapuri, everything here seems to be like Maya or something like an illusion. Now, in today's times, maybe you cannot relate to this much. It has become a commercial place altogether after the Kumbh Mela things and like that. But something which is like Mayapuri, that's why Haridwar was called a gateway to Hari. Or Swargam, Swargadwaram, Ganga Dwaram, Kapilasthanam. So, all this is a speciality of Haridwar. So Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi. Kashi is believed to be the oldest city in the entire universe. And this is something which is in Bharatadesha. So the oldest city which is said to have emerged is Kashi. And here Kashi is a place wherein Lord Hari as well as Lord Shiva live together. And here it is believed that Lord Shiva roams about in the city of Kashi. So, and anyone who dies here, that is in Kashi, people who die, or even after one dies, we go to Kashi to do the rites, right? So why we do that is, it is believed that Shiva roams about freely and gives the Upadesha of the Taraka mantra. That's the reason people who die in Kashi are considered to be very, they get moksha easily. Or why one goes to Kashi and does the final rites, or at least once in a lifetime you go and do Pindadanam, etc. in Kashi. The thing is, Shiva there roams about freely, it seems, in the streets of Kashi, and he offers, or he once he gives the Upadesham of the Taraka mantra, which is a Ramanama, Rama, Rama. So that is the significance of this place. Kashi is situated again, Ganga river flows, and Kashi is that place. The shape of Kashi, it is believed that it is in the form of a crescent moon, that is a circular shape, a moon-like shape which is there, a crescent moon shape. And Kashi, the small city itself. Now, if you have anyone of you, if you have visited Kashi, you'll see the roads are so small, right? You said there's so many temples, so much of crowd, and so on. So place itself is small, but the entire city is having more than 2,000 temples. It seems small temples. And of course, the main Varanasi Shiva temple that is there. And here you also have the famous, you can say again, people come here to do the Jyotirlinga, which is there. And Kashi is such a place where once in a lifetime, if a person goes, you feel like going there again and again. So this is again the fourth of the Sapta Mokshapuris. Next, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi. Kanchipuram, one of the holiest cities of Dakshina Bharatam. Many famous temples. There are 108 Shiva Kanchi, 108 Vishnu Kanchi temples, and you also have the famous Kanchi Kamakshi Amman temple, Lekambaranatha temple, Lekambareshwara, Varadaraja temple, and so on. And it was a place of Vaishnavism. That's the reason you see a lot of Vaishnavite scholars of Dakshina Bharata. They have their home in Kanchipuram, or they have contributed a lot. They have come to this place, composed many stotrams, this and that, and so on. And it is also the place wherein you have Lord Brahma who has performed the sacrifice. So Brahma wanted to do an Ashwamedha sacrifice about 1,000 times or so. And that, but it was little difficult for Brahma. That's the reason Lord Vishnu advised him that anything that you do in Kanchipuram once is equal to doing the same thing 1,000 times. Sahasram. So Brahma comes down to Kanchipuram, he does the Ashwamedha sacrifice here once. So he got the fruit of doing the same thing 1,000 times. And here is where you have the Vegavati river also that flows in Kanchipuram. The story that goes, Brahma married married Savitri, who is the second wife of Brahma. Why did he marry? Is just for doing the sacrifice. For doing any yajnam or so, bharya is very, very important for every grihastha. So grihastha ashrama dharma, for doing a sacrifice, we need the bharya. Wife is very, very important. Saraswati Devi used to be very busy. She is a goddess of knowledge, goddess of music. She had a lot of musical concerts, it seems, in Swargaloka. So she used to move about here and there. So always she used to be busy. Brahma wanted to do the sacrifice. So for that reason, he ended up marrying Savitri Devi. But as usual, like any other woman also, Saraswati was enraged when she got about this. Wherever she was, she left everything and she came running, it seems. And The way she came running, her form itself turned into a river, Vegavati. That's how the river Vedavati flows through Kanchipuram even till date. And here you also have the Vigraha of Varadaraja, which comes out once in, I think, more than 108. 108. What is the, anyone knows, sir? The temple of Varadaraja? 40 years. Sorry, 40 years. Correct. So once in 40 years, the Vigraham is got, it comes out of Lord Varadaraja, it is worshipped and so on. Next is you have Ujjain. Ujjain Nagari, the land of Mahakaleshwara, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika. Avantika or Ujjain. Now, Avantika is the old name of Ujjain. Now, Avantika, this name for Ujjain comes in one of Kalidasa's works. Kalidasa, great Sanskrit poet, Meghadutam, an imaginary text wherein he imagines the root of a cloud also. There, Ujjain is referred to as Avantika. So, that was the old name of Ujjain. And here in Ujjain, of course, Ujjain Nagari is on the banks of the Kshipra Nadi. Here you have the Mahakala Nagari, which is called Ujjain, which is untouched, it seems, till date by Kalaha and Kali. So the god of death that is there, everything is free. That is Mahakaleshwara lives here. And this, it seems that Avantika, this place itself was created to free one from all kinds of sins that we commit. And it is said that this is one of the Saptapuris. Why so? It is believed now. This maybe none of would have actually done. It is believed that even if you keep a dead body here for days together, it will not give a foul smell, it seems. That is what is believed, and that's the reason it is one of the Saptamokshapuris. Even if you keep a dead body as it is without burning, doing the rites or so, even then it will not create a foul smell. That is the significance of this place. And here in Ujjain Nagari, it is believed that apart from the main Lord Mahakaleshwar Jyotirlinga, you have about 1 crore Shivalingas, it seems, even till date in the city of Ujjain. And of course, it is known by different names. I told you Avantika, today it is Ujjain, and so. And this is how this place has established until date. People visit, and Lord of Mahakaleshwara again is a Dakshinamukhi Lingam, which now Dakshinamukhi, that's the reason when a person dies, we keep them in the Dakshina Disha, that's south direction. Or usually when we sleep also, if you see, you should not keep your head also on the north side. So usually that is because the dead body is kept during in that position then. So south Dakshinamukhi Lingam, one of the Dakshinamukhi Lingam is the Lord of Mahakaleshwara, which depicts death. Let's not say death, it is actually the truth of life, that is there, birth and death. That is Kalaha. So that is Ujjain. Last is Dwaraka. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva. Puri. Yeah. Dwarakapuri. Dwarakapuri, the lord of the kingdom where Lord Krishna established. And it seems that Yamaraja, Lord Dharmadeva himself, now Varaha Puranam also talks about Dharmadeva, Yama. So it is said that in Dwaravati, even if Yamaraja himself keeps instructing, it seems, the Yamadutas who are there, that if anyone takes the name of Dwaravati, such, or even mentions the name of the city of Dwaraka, not even of the Lord, Yamadutas do not touch that person. That is the significance of this place. Amongst the Saptapuris, this is considered to be the holiest because Lord Krishna has done a lot of Leelas here. And here Dwaraka is believed that till date it is protected by the Sudarshana Chakram of Lord Vishnu. That's the reason even if it is in the midst of an ocean also, it is still protected by the Sudarshana Chakra. And here you also have, if anyone has visited Dwaraka, you know that the form of the Dwarakadish Lord is in the Chaturbhuja Swarupa, which is very, very rare. Usually we don't see Lord Krishna in the Chaturbhuja Swarupam as such. In Dwaravati we see him in Chaturbhuja Swarupa. That is Dwarakadish in the form of having 4 hands also. And here with this, the list of Saptapuris ends. That is nothing but the significance of various Tirtha Kshetras. Apart from this, also there are other Tirtha Kshetras that are there. This is a list of Saptamokshapuris which one should always visit. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva, Saptaite, Mokshadayakaha. Apart from this, also there are many, many places, various Tirtha Kshetras. Then details of other sacred rituals that are done. So, when now there are many many rituals as such. Now we are not getting deep into it. When we look at the Purana in detail, if anytime we look at it, we can go through it. Now here, when we see rituals also, if you see all the Puranas as such, now for this, you see in certain, depending now in Bharata Desha only if you consider, Uttara Bharatam as a way of worship, Dakshina Bharatam as a way of worship, and so on. So every place that we go, the way of worship keeps differing, right? Or the rituals that people do. Sometimes you go to some villages also. Maybe like a tourist, you visit the place for the first time. You see their ways of worship are quite different. Or in each one's house, maybe about your 15, 20 people, all of us will be worshipping God, but the way we do some rituals or so, little it does differ, right? Why it differs is, or maybe some people will say, no, in our family we do it this way, or it is our family tradition. Why do we say this? That is because the way people do little differs, or little it will not be. Now when we say there are certain differences, doesn't mean that you do totally opposite also. It's not like that, but maybe somewhat in the way that we do, or sometimes people offer only certain flowers to the Lord also. Whereas there'll be another family who says, no, I offer all kinds of flowers. Someone will say, no, we offer a different category. Or even the Nevidyam that we do, as sometimes also people, when they do the Nevidyam Harati and so on, they will do it only in the morning. Evening they will not do anything. Whereas it should be done, some people do it both the times. Or even you light the lamp also. Some of them have a practice of dousing the lamp before they have food, that is around 12 also. Some people don't have the habit of dousing the lamp at all, they keep it the entire day. So these are, I'm just giving you small examples which we do in our everyday house. Sometimes people, what they do is flowers when they offer to the Lord. Today say you offer new flowers. Tomorrow at sometimes what happens, especially in the cold seasons or so, during winter, the flowers don't wither, right? So what they do, no, let it be for a day or so. Let the flower wither, then I will remove it. That should actually never ever be done. Still some people do it. Right? It's just like every day you take a bath, right? No, I am feeling fresh, so today I won't take a bath. We don't do that. Right? So it's the same thing which is applicable. But yes, people do. Sometimes, so it's okay even if the next day we don't offer new flowers. That's okay, but the old flowers should be removed. So all these things are being done, or sometimes instead of flowers, people offer coins also when we don't have flowers, or just as a way of worship. So these are all details in which different rituals are conducted. I'm just giving you few examples like that in detail for every vrata. For example, every Dwadashi Avrata, particular ritual is done. You worship Lord Vishnu also, or every Dwadashi you do some Abhisheka to Lord Vishnu. You have a Vigraham of Lord Vishnu, do Alankaram to that. Worship like this all through the year you can do. Or every Navami Tithi you can do something, every Ashtami something is done, and so on. So, like this, these are all different rituals. Now, why all this is done is whatever people around the world today are doing, all that somewhere has got a link in the Puranas. Some rituals have become very, very popular. That's the reason we see that. So we are not surprised. Say, for example, Krishna Janmashtami or Ramanavami and so on. The way all of us celebrate is the same, right? Or maybe Deepavali. All of us do the Lakshmi Puja, right? So some rituals have become quite common. People all over the world, or people in a particular culture also, follow the same rules. But there are certain rituals when, like some do the Rahu Kala Puja, that is done. Rahu Kala Puja, which is there, not everyone does it, but some people do it, right? Maybe the Pradosha Puja. Pradosha Puja is still very, very popular. So, like this, there are, or even the Rahu Ketu Dosha Puja, that is there. Some people do that. Maybe the Navagraha Puja, which is done. So, some such things, these are rituals which are not that common, which is not done by every household as such. But yes, they have, the point is, all the rituals which are either common or uncommon, they have a place in our Puranas, and all that is mentioned in detail in the Puranas. So Varaha Puranam talks about all this in detail. And the first thing is, I think, about, you also have the story of the Ashwini Kumaras. Ashwini Kumaras, the divine doctors of the gods, that is Ashwini Kumaras, both of them the twins who are there. And basically they are called as Ashwini Kumaras or Ashwinav. Okay, they are twin gods as such. And it seems that as per the Rigveda description that is there, it seems both of them are young men as such, youthful, very young men who ride the horse. And it seems that they never become tired, or so they are always healthy. That's the reason they've got the position of being the divine doctors of the gods. Now, Ashwin, this word itself to some extent means that one who is always victorious also, or one who will always be fresh, always be healthy. That's the reason they become the divine physicians. So that story is also given in the Varaha Purana. Okay, next we continue. Okay, could everyone follow Varaha Purana? Yes or no? Yeah. So all this that I'm telling you now is just a gist. As such, it is still in detail the entire Purana. Okay, I'll just tell you the Varaha Puranam size. Size. Now the number of verses. In total, if you see, Varaha Puranam, again, it talks a lot. It is also like the previous Puranas that we saw. It also talks about blend of Shaktism, Shaivism, and Vaishnavism together. Talks about goddess Durga. Talks about, so it's Shaktism. Talks about Matsyavataram, Varahavataram, Adi avatars of Vishnu, so Vaishnavism. Also about Shiva Shakti worship also is described, so Shaivism. So it's a blend of all three. And Varaha Puranam, majorly it highlights about the different Tirtha Kshetras I told you. And it also talks about, and there's a lot of discussion between karma in Varaha Puranam. So Varaha Puranam uh, little talks about karma also, like karma, you do good karma, you get good results, you do bad karma, you get bad results, and so on. So that discussion that is there of karma, that is also done here. And roughly, if you consider, if I'm not wrong, Varaha Purana consists about 24 to 25,000 verses that are there in the entire Varaha Purana. Okay, next we move on to the next Purana. Ah, Skanda Purana. Skanda Purana. What is the speciality of Skanda Purana? Anyone knows? It's not Skanda Puranam, Skanda Puranam. Anyone knows the speciality of Skanda Puranam? Correct. Correct. How many verses? Number of verses? Biggest of all Puranas, or the largest of all Puranas, 81,000 verses. Skanda Purana. You have all this, the recent Ayodhya temple that was built. If you remember, we had seen something when we talked about the 14 places or 14 different aspects of Ayodhya when we were seeing. You remember there were a lot of references from the Skanda Purana. Skanda Puranam talks in detail about Ayodhya Mahatmya. There is a chapter in itself speaking about Ayodhya. You see the history of Ayodhya. Like this, Skanda Puranam talks about the history of all these auspicious places: Kedarnath, Tirupati, Puri, Ujjain, Badrinath, Ayodhya, Prabhasa Kshetra, Dwaraka, Varanasi. Prabhasa is Somnath. And also, so basically, again, Skanda Puranam highlights a lot about the geography and gives, so it is again encyclopedic in nature, about information about various Tirtha Kshetras and so on. And also the history of Arunachalam. Arunachalam, the Jyotirlinga in Dakshina Bharata. Arunachalam, that history is also highlighted in the Skanda Puranam. No doubt, as the name suggests, Skanda Puranam talks about the birth story of Skanda. That is also one aspect. So this is about Skanda Puranam. In short, if you see, Skanda Puranam, why it is consisting of 81,000 verses, if it is just going to talk about just simply what to say, the history of places. You see, the history of places is divided into chapters. Like for example, when I give you the example of Ayodhya, if you take chapters and chapters, you have the Mahima of Ayodhya that is given. It's not just, you can say, okay, one two chapters we just highlight in short and move about. It is not so. In detail, the history of these places is mentioned, what is where, along with geographical notations, and where, in which direction, what temple is. Actually, if you visit, it is like in today's times, you can compare it to a Google map also. You on the map and then you go here and there, right? So here you have this temple, there you have that, then there is a road and so on. 40 meters from there, 50 meters from here. With these values, Kanda Puranam gives information. That's the reason even now, after 500 years, when the Ram Janmabhoomi temple was built, or the Rama temple was built in Ayodhya, why did people who fought, or the judges who were there who fought for the temple, why did they pick up references from Ayodhya or from Skanda Purana? Why was it considered even authentic? Right? In front of the court, you need something. Whether you're a believer, non-believer, or so, the court doesn't see that. Law doesn't see that. With proofs why it was given, why things were picked from the Skanda Purana. Uh, if you have read through the judgments that is there of the temple, you know that why these judgments were picked from the Skanda Purana, which is thousands and thousands of years old. Very simple reasons. The on information that is there is very, very authentic, with numerical values, with measurements, with the years and so on. So that's the reason it passed in front of the law also, and the temple was built. Right. So Skanda Puranam is one of the major contributors for the Rama Janmabhoomi temple, which has been rebuilt in 2024 this year. Okay, so that is just one example which we have seen with our own eyes. Like this, there are so many other examples also. Now, here mainly, if you see, Skanda Puranam talks with the starts with the story of Daksha Prajapati. I'm just telling you in just about Skanda Puranam. Daksha Prajapati, that is Daksha's sacrifice, the birth of Sati, and her giving up her life. Finally, you have the churning of the ocean, Samudra Manthana story that is described in the Skanda Purana. Here, Skanda Purana also talks about Shiva Puja that has to be done. So many families, as such, in be it Dakshina Bharata, especially, or even in Uttara Bharata, it can be there, have this parampara of Shiva Puja, which is passed on from one generation to the next. That parampara is highlighted in the Skanda Puranam to such. So, how we have certain pujas which are passed about, right? Like from one generation, from the father to the son, and so on to his sons, his son, how it moves about. That is because it has been passed from generation also. What is the significance? How it has to be done? It has got its basis in the Skanda Purana. Further, and what kind of linga also should be used. Now, usually, if you see, uh, most of us we use a black Shivalinga that is there. Some, if you go to Uttara Bharatam, it will be the white marble which is used. But there are also lingas made of copper. Then some are made even using mud or so, like Parvati. Goddess Parvati made a linga of earth in Ekambareshwara. That's the reason out of the Panchabhuta Sthanams, Ekambaranatha temple of Kanchipuram represents the earth element because Parvati Devi, she made the Shivalinga using earth and she hugged the Shivalinga tight under the mango tree, which is there even in Ekambaranatha. That is one mango tree giving four different types of fruits, four different types of mangoes. It seems that even till date, the mangoes that come on the tree, there are four different types. The taste is different of each mango. So the point is, when Parvati Devi she did that, Vegavati, I told you Saraswati when we were saying about Kanchipuram, she flowed right in anger also, and the entire city flooded. But still, the Shivalinga did not move from there. Parvati hugs the Shivalinga very tightly. Ekambaranatha temple. So a Shivalinga made of earth, that is made of mud, and so then silver lingam and so on, or the Spatika lingam. Today also, if you see the Shringeri Kanchi Acharya is doing puja, the Chandramaurishwara puja, the linga that they use is different. This particular linga. So like this, there are so many other. The material is different. So different lingas are used for different purposes for doing Shiva puja. That is highlighted here. And you also have the process of doing the Pradosha puja. How Pradosha puja should be done, how it should be concluded, and so on. That is also highlighted in the Skanda Purana. Then then some stories related to Muruga. How Skanda kills Tarakasura, how he becomes a Senapati of the gods, and certain stotras also in praise of Skanda is, or that is in praise of Kartikeya is told here, like the different names. In fact, it is said that the I don't know if how many of you are aware, but there is a Skanda Shtotra Namavali, like we have in general for all other gods also. And it is said that on the Kartik Purnima, the month of Kartik, roughly the month of November, when the Kartik Purnima comes, on that day people usually chant this Kartik Ashtotra Namavali, which is there in the Skanda Puranam. It is believed that sage Vishwamitra, he had chanted this for the first time. So I think the first two, three namas, Brahmavadine Namaha, Brahmaya Namaha, Brahmavide Namaha, Brahmotsala Namaha, and so on. That's how it goes about 108 namas, Ashtottara Namavali. So that is also a part of this Purana and also the Palashruti of it. So here, especially this Ashtotram, that is the Skanda Ashtotram or anything, people do this Shashti Vrata and so on, or they don't consume salt also on every Shashti, especially women, pregnant women, or women who wish to bear children as such, they do all this Vrata. So that is to Murga, especially. One who prays to Murga is always blessed with children. That is the belief. And on this day, it seems that a child like Murga himself will be born to the couple. So that is the reason of doing worship to Skanda. That's why Skanda is worshipped to an extent. And also, you have the concept of Dhanam, like the Linga Puranam, even Skanda Puranam highlights about Dhanam. And the I don't know here how many people are quite well versed with Rudra Ekadashi and Shatarudriyam, things like that. Anyone who's famous, who is well known, you know about Veda Parayanam, also Vedas you have learned, chant Rudram, etc., or you have participated in Rudra Ekadashi. No one? Okay. So men as such, when you do the Yajnapavitam, you learn the Vedas also. You would have at least heard, if all of you, even men, women, if you have not seen or participated as such, you would have definitely heard or seen the Rudra Ekadashi Puja, which is usually done by many. temple trusts or many different samats that we do at least once a year and so on. You will have different men chanting in groups also chanting Rudram Chamakam and so on. So there like that you have one concept called the Shatarudriyam. Shatarudriyam or you have Ekadashi Rudram and so on. So 11 times Rudra Mantram is chanted in praise of Lord Shiva. Shatarudriyam is 100 times or sometimes it is 108 and so on. So like this many times people chant. So how that has to be done? The concept of Rudra Ekadashi, the one day puja that we do or Maharudram that people do for 11 days or Shatarudriyam which is done usually for you can say 100 days. So things like that which are told. Now this, if you see the Shatarudriyam also, what happens is uh, Shatarudriyam as per the Brahma Puranam, sorry, as per the Skanda Puranam, if you see, talks about now Shatarudriyam is usually concept which is done like Rudra Ekadashi and so on, but the list that is given in Skanda Puranam is Shata, is 100 Shivalingas which are worshipped by 100 gods or you can say in 100 different references. So it is said that Brahma, he used to worship Lord Shiva in the form of a golden linga, and that linga is called as Jagat Pradhanam. I'm just giving you two three examples. Krishna used to worship Shiva called as a in a black colored linga, it's called the Urjita linga. Sanakananda, the four Sanat Kumaras, they used to pray to Shivalingam, Shivaridayam, it seems. So their linga, the linga that they worship used to respect the heart of Shiva, used to worship the heart of Shiva. The Saptarishis were there, they used to worship a Darbalingam. So using Darbas also, they had created a linga and that's how they used to worship. Surya, Bhagavan Surya used to worship copper linga. It is called Vishwaswarupa, Vishwasrigu. So like this, even Chandra Bhagavan used to worship, Indra will worship, Agni will worship. So like this, there are different gods, 100 different forms in which Shiva is worshipped. That again, all the 100 names are told in the Skanda Puranam. You should definitely read through it. Very, very interesting. And you also have the story further of I told you about the Tirthas and different Kshetras. You have Arunachala Mahatmyam, you have Venkatachala Mahatmyam, and so on. Maybe next time I'll tell you more in detail about this. Venkatachala, the story of Tirupati, how the Lord came, Padmavati Kalyanam, Srinivasa Kalyanam, how Goddess Mahalakshmi came. And today, if you go to Tirupati, it's not just one temple. There are different temples which are in and around Tirupati, which people worship, and so on. So, what is the significance behind it? What is the stories? And further, you also have Badrinath Kshetram. I'm just telling you about the names of Kshetras. Badrinath Kshetram, that is there. Then you also have Ayodhya Mahatmyam, and the place is near Ayodhya, and Rameshwara Kshetram. Then even the Nitya Karmas that people do, that is the Sandhyavandanadi Karmas for men as such, the do's and don'ts of Sandhyavandana are mentioned in the Skanda Purana. Then you also have Kashi Mahatmyam, that is told Kashi Mahatmyam. Again, this Kashi Mahatmyam is told by sage Agastya. So the reference comes in the Skanda Purana, but it has been highlighted by Agastya. And you also have about Avanti Kshetram. Avanti Kshetram, Ujjain, we already saw. Manasa Tirtham, that is Manasarovara. Then you also have little, what do you say, the Narmada Parikrama that people do. Now, though Ganga Yamuna has become very famous, Narmada is also considered to be a very, very auspicious river. Anyone has done the Narmada Parikrama here? Or at least have you heard about it? People who go about the Narmada Parikrama. Nobody has heard? Heard. Ah. So, Narmada Parikrama is basically if you see, it moves about places in Bharatadesha which move about the flow of Narmada. So around Narmada river, I'll just tell you the names of few places if you see. So Narmada, basically all this is in central Bharata. So Madhya Pradesh and so on, where as such, wherein Narmada river flows, around that you have Narmada Kshetram or Narmada Parikrama which is done. I think it is yatra for I think about few days and close to a month or so. More than a month, I think it is. That's where people do the Narmada Parikrama. So around wherever Narmada flows, around the river of Narmada, whatever, whichever are the temples, holy places, also people visit, worship. Hanuman temples usually, or you also have different goddesses temples and so on. So small villages as such. So you can Later, all of you can even Google Narmada Parikrama, you will know more about it. All that, the Narmada Parikrama, which people do today, it has got its roots in the Skanda Puranam, because Skanda Puranam talks a lot about Narmada. Narmada Stotram is also composed by Shankaracharya. Narmada Stotram. Just as we have Narmada Ashtakam, more than Narmada Stotram, it is Narmada Ashtakam. Just as we have Ganga Stotram and so on, we have Narmada Ashtakam also, which is composed by Shankaracharya. Also, there are other Narmada Arti also is done. So Narmada Ashtakam by Shankaracharya is quite famous, which people do. Sabindu Sindhu Skalataranga Bangaranjitam, and so on it moves about. Just as we have Ganga Sotram, Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvanatarini Tarala Tarange Shankara Mauli Vilahin Vila Viharini Vimale Mama Matirastam Tava Pada Kamale. This is with Ganga. Narmada Ashtakam, as I just chanted, Sabindu Sindhu Suskala Taranga Bangaranjitam, and so on. It moves about Ganga Stotra. Sorry, Narmada Ashtakam. And you also have about Yamuna Stotra. Duno tume ma Maldavish. Duno tume manomalam Galinda Nandini Sada. This is Yamuna Ashtakam. I'm just chanting one line that is there from these stotrams. So Shankaracharya mainly has only highlighted about the concept, or you can say worship of rivers, Ganga, Yamuna and Narmada. Okay. And further you also have the significance of Kedar Kshetra. Kedar Kshetram is today's Kedarnath, that is there, and also about the Pancha Kedar. People go about this the Pancha Kedar Yatra that is there. I think out of that one is Tunganath and so on. So there it's become a very famous trek. Youngsters usually take up on that, but that is one of the Pancha Kedar Kshetram. So that significance also is also told in the Skanda Purana. Further, the birth of Vishwamitra and his rivalry with Vasishta, which is also highlighted in the Balakanda of Ramayana. The Skanda Puranam also talks about that. Skanda Puranam has certain stories with regards to Ramayana, like this conflict between Vishwamitra, Vyasa, and so on. Then you also have Prabhasa Kshetra Mahatmya, that's today's Somnath Linga. That story is mentioned. You also have about Dwaraka, and you have the, you can say, little uh, commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama, commentary, or you can say the essence as such, the Mahima, glory of Vishnu Sahasranama, that is highlighted in the Skanda Purana, and also Lakshmi Sahasranama and Saraswati Sahasranama. So these are also a part of Skanda Purana. So now you see the subject matter of Skanda Purana is quite huge. So that's the reason it is so 81,000 verses, that is close to a lakh verses, right? So what exactly it contains, the I just told you a very few topics, many more topics are also there. So these are few topics as such which talks, and mainly Skanda Puranam talks a lot about Shiva Puja, Shivaratri Puja, how the Pradosha Vrata is done, Shiva Kavacham. Stotram Shiva Kavacham is a part of Skanda Puranam. Then even the Chaturmasya Puja, which our acharyas usually take up, Sringeri acharyas, Kanchi acharyas, during the rainy seasons, how that is done. The Chaturmasya Puja, that is also highlighted in the Skanda Puranam, and of course the Shodashopachara. Shodashopachara, the 16 ways in which the Upacharam is done, how Vishnu is usually now in the Shodashopachara Pura, Vishnu, the Avahanam to Vishnu, that is Vishnu is invoked and then the puja is done, that is the Shodashopachara Puja. So all these, so in as such, if you say Skanda Puranam is a blend of different stories, it also talks about rituals, how things have to be done, and information about different pilgrimage places and so on. And if you see, you have the significance of a particular month also, like you have the month of Vaishakha, Chaitra Vaishakha, and the second month of the Hindu calendar, and also the Mahima of the month of Kartika. Why these 2 months especially? Because these 2 months are quite auspicious for Lord Muruga, Lord Skanda. So that's the reason these 2 months are highlighted. I told you about the Kartika Purnami, that is there, and also the month of Vaishakha. So these 2 months are quite auspicious for Lord Vishnu. So the, and also Margashirsha. Margashirsha again, Masana Margashirshoham. Margashirsha is an auspicious month in itself, as highlighted by Krishna in the Gita. So therefore, the Mahima or Mahatmya of these 3 months is also highlighted in the Skanda. Further, you have, I told you about Arunachala Mahatmya and Venkateshwara Mahatmya. Then little information about general kshetrams like Gaya Tirtham, Gaya Kshetram, which people do, the Gaya Shraddham, which is quite famous. Then the Mallikarjuna, Sri Shaila. Sri Shailam information is given. Badrikashramam is mentioned. Then Pushkara Mahatirtham, I told you. I'm just telling you the names of places. Detailed information is given in the Skanda Purana about these places. About Kalahasti, it is given. Then Kanchipuram, Ekambara, Ekambareshwara temple. Then Chidambaram. Also you have Rameshwaram, Gokarna Kshetram, where you have Bhagavan Gokarneshwara. That is the name of the Shivalinga, Gokarnam. Then Brahmapura Kshetram. What is this Brahmapura Kshetram? Brahmapura Kshetram is a Kshetram wherein it is, what do you say? It is believed that Brahma himself has established a Shivalinga there, and the Shivalinga is called as Paramashiva. And then, like this, there are different kshetrams. Also about the Prabhasa Kshetram, I told you near Somnath. Then you have Trimbakeshwara on the banks of the river Godavari. And Trimbakeshwara is in today's Maharashtra. Apart from the Jyotirlinga there, it is believed that Skanda here, it seems that he got the Shakti to kill Tarakasura. So Kartikeya Skanda has come to Trimbakeshwara, done tapasya in order to kill uh, Tarakasura. So like this, these are certain kshetras, not much in detail, but you have the, so in gist also you have little information about these kshetrams also. Then just a last concept of Skanda Puranam, if you see, you have an eightfold method that is told to reach Venkateshwara, that is Tirupati. So how to reach the Lord through bhakti, just as if you go to, for doing any rituals also, like if you have a visit Shabrimala, you have the 40 days vrata that we do. Similarly, for the worship of Lord Venkateshwara, we have an eightfold path, which is usually done or told by people. So that is mentioned in the uh, Skanda Puranam. So that is just in general, just as we have the principles of Jainism or so. Similarly, are also like to establish bhakti, to have a to have sneham, that is a sense of friendship and love towards fellow beings, to do service to the Lord, to perform puja, then to hear about the stories of the Lord, His Mahatmyam. Always keep chanting the names of Srinivasa and to surrender to the Lord. So these are like this an eightfold path to reach Venkateshwara. This is little highlighted in the Skanda Purana. So with this, we will stop here for today. We will look at the history of Arunachala. That is there next time, Arunachala Mahatmya. So with this, we will conclude. We meet again next Sunday.